In the same way, the old version of you could not enter into the current state that you're in, this very place right here, right? Whoever you used to be could not exist in the world that you currently occupy. There are individuals in your life right now, people who you are grasping onto for dear life that simply cannot go with you into the space that you're about to walk into. Like you're just about to enter into your promised land, right? Your land of quote unquote milk and honey. And yet here you are, here you find yourself clinging on to these individuals, hoping that they come with you, not realizing that the very thing that's stopping you from walking into that destiny is you clinging on to them. They cannot go with you, and that's okay. And this doesn't mean they're bad people, right? There's this preconceived notion. It's like, I got to cut them off because they're bad, they're toxic, they're this, they're that. If a person is demonstrating toxic behaviors, which we all have at some point in time, as a matter of fact, I made a video recently called Maybe You're the Toxic One, or Maybe I'm the Toxic One, right? That's really what the conversation was about. Sometimes we are the toxic one. So this person might be demonstrating those behaviors. However, they're simply operating from where they are. And the fact that we're trying to drag them actually shows more about us than it does about them. It shows that we feel insecure without them in our lives. We feel that they are a part of our identity. And I know this could be a tough message to hear, especially when it comes to family dynamics, right? You look at your family, you look at the people that you're raised by or that you're raised around, and you think to yourself, there's no way I can go anywhere without them. I need them. They are my source, my bread, my life. Not realizing that they can't step into where you're going. They can't come with you in what you're about to enter into. What you're about to walk into requires a different level of being, a different level of consciousness. I'm not even talking about just like financially. Some people think, oh, yo, you just care so much about money or success or whatever. No, it's so much deeper than that. I'm talking about little states of consciousness. You are becoming a different entity altogether. You are growing past those preconceived notions, those belief systems, those limitations that were placed upon you. And you are finally expanding, you're finally allowing yourself to evolve in the most natural way, well, at least was supposed to be the most natural way for us as human beings, not human doings, right? And so I found myself in the very same place, even until recently, where there were people who were obvious that obviously couldn't come into my grander vision of life, right? Into this expansive version of the authentic, truest expression of who I was or who I am. I knew that there were certain people like they for sure can't go. Like if I walked into this type of room, this person right here would, there would be chaos in that space, or they wouldn't know how to conduct themselves in that space simply because they feel insecure. They feel they're not enough. They feel inadequate in those spaces. And so I had to come to a place where, I distanced myself from those relationships because they no longer demonstrated where I was. Like when I stepped out of addiction, I couldn't stay in spaces with individuals who are addicts. You might think, oh, that's shallow, but no, that's development, that's growth, that's becoming, that's the journey. You can't stay in one place forever. You can't be a toddler forever. You can't be in the cocoon forever. You eventually got to emerge and become the butterfly. Like some of y'all want to stay caterpillars, go ahead and do you. But some of us, we're here to become the butterfly. All of us have the capacity, have the ability, and have the option. But some are so afraid of what it would mean to turn into something greater that they will stay in the very same place that they have always known, which is crawling on the earth, belly on the dust. So when you find yourself as one of these individuals who is awakened to life and awakened to the truth of who they are, right? And you're looking to step into it, you have to remember this. It's not about them. It's not about, seeing them in a certain light. If you are actually like seeing them from eyes of resentment, etc., then there's some healing that got to be done there. There's some forgiveness that has to take place. Like if you're setting boundaries from an angry place, those are unhealthy boundaries. And I'm not saying they're wrong or bad. It's just they're not set from a healthy state. Healthy boundaries are set from a place of self-respect. They're not set from a place of I'm angry at you, I hate you, I can't stand you, because when you set the boundary from that place, what you're actually saying is I'm holding on to you emotionally. You are still in control of me emotionally. You still have power over me emotionally, and that ain't it. That math is definitely not mathing. Yeah, and trust me, I'm not a mathematician, but I've done that math, and that math is not mathing whatsoever. Absolutely not. Addition, multiplication, or division. So we get to a place where we're now evaluating our circle. And first, we can only evaluate that circle or the people around us or our relationship dynamics, because sometimes it's just a version of that person they are that cannot step into that place in the same way it is the version of us that can't go into those places, right? So I start to evaluate, I start to look at through the perception of what I am stepping into, right? Again, it might not be where I am right now. Let's say if I'm in a trap right now, if you know what the trap is, it's like the dope house. If I am in the dope house right now, right? And I know that I have greater visions of the White House, quote unquote, from the dope house to the White House, then I really have to come to myself and say, okay, are the people around me right now representations of the dope house or are they representations of the White House? Because I'm going to the White House. So are they going to represent the White House? And when I'm moving towards the White House, I may have to have a season where I'm isolated. I'm in solitude, right? Maybe some may follow. Maybe some may come. Maybe some may be their own destiny is tied into the White House. But most of them are going to stay in the dope house. And some will try to convince you to stay in the dope house. And this is where you have to assert yourself. I'm not saying in a sort of aggressive way. I'm just saying assert yourself as in, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm doing, and that's what it is. Right? This is my life path. Be unapologetic about it. You're going to get the family who's going to tell, well, you know, we have always been family, but you're forgetting us. Don't forget where you came from. They will tell you all sorts of things to keep you in the fold because they need you in order to feel secure in their own identity. But you have to make the decision for you to say, you know what? I understand where you're coming from. It's nothing but love, but I am destined for the White House. I am destined for that promised land. And now you can come. You can gladly come because there is one for all of us. But if you're choosing to stay in this small paradigm and this worldview, then this is a place where I'm choosing to no longer stay. We really have to get to this place, y'all. We really have to get to a place where we are unapologetic about it. And people may look at me and think, oh, this dude can be so cold. He can be this, that, and the third. I'm really not. Like, I got nothing but love for everybody. I might sit there and have a conversation with you for an hour. However, if I get the inkling or the sense that this ain't nothing but a reflection of the past, it's not happening. Oh, let's sit down and just gossip for gossip's sake. No. Ooh, let's sit down and talk about. No. Ooh, let's sit down and no. Like, why? I have so many other things that I could do. I would rather be creating than I would be, petty bantering, than I would be out in a nightclub or whatever else that's going on. That's got nothing to do with me, where I am going. Not even where I'm currently at, let alone where I'm going, right? And so you have to start to respect yourself based upon what you're stepping into, what you are becoming, and forever choosing to fixate your gaze on that greater ideal of yourself. Again, I'm not talking about strictly materialistic objects. Those things may manifest as a result, but I'm talking about like a way of being, a way of living, a way of authentically expressing yourself in the world. If you're around a bunch of individuals who are wearing masks or who are numbing their pains or hiding their true selves from the world, and I want to live authentically, I have to recognize that I can't take inauthenticity into spaces of authenticity. I can't bring it with me. I started showing up different on camera. I forgot what the moment was, but there was a moment like I just broke and I was like, nah, bro, I'm done. And I realized like part of me wasn't showing my full self because there were certain people I thought would judge me, certain very close people, family, romantic partner. I was like, damn, if I just was just who I am like this, which I can't be in front of them without it being called out in some way, then that's going to be an issue, right? And so I held back and I tried to be so concise and I tried to be linear and trying to be all these things. And I said, nah, bruh, bump that. I am who I am. I show up how I show up and I speak how I speak. And whatever the message may be is what it is. I'm not going to apologize about it whatsoever. I can't apologize for being myself. I can't do that. I can't apologize for showing up in the world the way in which I was literally created to show up, which is the most authentic or truest version of who I am. And a lot of us are living that way. We're living in these, in these masks and these facades, and trying to show the world we're this person or this thing. But in reality, we're the complete opposite. We're hiding from ourselves and we need to start to drop the mask. We need to start to drop that facade. We need to live in accordance or in alignment with who we truly are. That's what that's about. And I know it's frightening because you have all these belief systems that have literally been placed in order to keep you in those shackles, to keep you in that identity, to press you in as opposed to allow you to expand, right? That's what it does. That's what an identity does. An identity locks you in. So you start to defend the very identity. And sometimes you can defend the very thing that is actually keeping you in bondage. And that's what, some of us fail to recognize is you're fighting for this limitation, but in the process of fighting for it, you're literally keeping it in your life. Some people will fight for their dis-ease or their illness, right? They'll say, but you don't understand. I'm this and this happened. I'm that. They'll fight for that story, not understanding that they're keeping that active and alive within their own life. They will fight for the very thing that is destroying them. And so again, we have to, because we're the only one who can make a choice for ourselves. We have to make a conscious and intentional decision to step out of that space. Sorry, not sorry. Guilt-free. We're gonna do it guilt-free, just like my first published book. We're gonna be doing me guilt-free. We're gonna be living a life where we're not living to people please, but instead living for personal power. And your religious mind might be running rampant right now. It might be going crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh, this man. You might probably not even saying gosh. You're saying this man right here is deceived and he doesn't understand. And wait till he's gonna be met with a fiery pizza. Like, come on, get out of here with all that. That ain't that. Well, you don't have to get out of here with all that. You can bring all of that, actually. I welcome that. I welcome those individuals who are so deeply entrenched within their religiosity, because I was you. I was in the exact same shoes. I was the one who would leave that long message of, Jesus is the way and the truth. And, if you don't accept this, then you're going to burn and perish forever. Like I was that guy. I was him too. So when you bring those messages, I understand that as well. But I also understand that bondage can only be loosened. Those chains can only be unshackled per se when you allow yourself to drop them, because it is you who keeps them on you. Nobody else can keep your shackles on you. It's not like the true version of enslaved peoples across the planet where they're in little shackles, but instead you're placing these shackles or safeguards around your own mind. You're placing a cage over your own consciousness because you're afraid of what's on the other side, because you've been told to be afraid of what's on the other side. You've been told to fear other people's perspectives, told to fear the way in which other people move about life. You've been told to fear the ways of life, right? Life itself. Oh, life is dangerous. The world is a terrible place. It's run by the devil. Like, you've been told all these messages that are to keep you in your safe little corner. That is actually the most dangerous place you could be, because in that space, you do not live life. Instead, you live as a slave to yourself. Or instead, you could live a life where you are doing you guilt-free. All seriousness, this right here is a powerful, powerful read, and it will probably be one of the best investments. I can't say number one, but one of the best investments you make this year, next to your other copy, which will be number one. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I was about to say I'm about to burp, but it happened anyway. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Peace.